Sorry, YouTube. Just get my camera sorted out. Okay. Just waiting for people to turn up, as always, when I start these lives. Okay. My hair looks so haggy. I don't usually wear my hair down. I don't like wearing my hair down. Like, not without something pulling it back. I'm just yabbering on, waiting for people to turn up. Okay. Whoops, sorry. Hello. Welcome to the live. I'm just waiting for everyone to turn up. If you want to let me know where you're from, that'd be great. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. Haven't really been out yet. I put my back out, so I'm stuck at home right now. So haven't been out. Didn't even go to the gym. You know I'm in agony if I haven't been to the gym. I'll go every day. Okay, so let's get going here. Good morning from California. Hi, Jasenia. You've been here before, I think, Jasenia. Okay, so where are you from? England. Hello, Candy. Candy Jane. Welcome or welcome back. Don't remember seeing your name. I don't usually see names because I'm looking for questions, right? So, but some names I remember. South Dakota. South Dakota, welcome. Are they two different states, North and South Dakota? Okay. Don't know. Texas. Hello, Diana. North Dakota. South. Yeah, I think they are. I think West Virginia, and then there's just Virginia. I find that annoying. There's a West Virginia. Why isn't there an East Virginia? Okay. Oops. Sorry. Yeah, I'm stuck at home this morning because I put my back out. So I may as well do a live because I feel like I haven't been productive this morning at all. So this makes me feel a little bit more productive. Tennessee. Okay. We got enough people here. It's a weird time for me to be on. I'm not usually on a Sunday morning. So Windsor, Ontario. Hello, Janet. Edmonton, Canada. Allie. Welcome. And anyway, so let's get going with your questions. But I like to throw in a bunch of other stuff too, because most of the questions are about discipline, and that's really not what I'm about. I'm more about connecting with kids. You deal with bad behavior, then you focus on the good kid. So yeah, the discipline is a tiny part of what I teach. But that's what everyone asks me about. So, nearly 4-year-old just never lets me talk when someone else is over on the house. That must be annoying for other people. So what you put down is on the behavior board that's completely free in the link above, you put down no interrupting and then just explain when they're interrupting. And you might want to have a signal or something to let them know because it's such a habit. They're not born interrupting necessarily. It's something that they learn that they can get away with. By 4, he knows that he's interrupting. So maybe every time he interrupts, you go like this and then say, when I do that, if you keep going, then there'll be a consequence later. So put it on the behavior board and put down no interrupting. Yeah, I broke my back when I was a kid. So I've always had back issues. I did something yesterday. I knew I shouldn't have done it. So I did it to myself. Had surgery. Back surgery is very dicey. It sometimes works, sometimes helps a little bit, maybe. I don't know. It's no big deal. I've had it my whole life, so I'm used to dealing with this. Okay. I'm just going to throw in some stuff. One thing that comes up a lot with some clients who have child development degrees is they argue that praise gets good behavior. They focus a lot on praise. I don't. I've never, ever heard of praise getting good behavior. Ever. Connection does. Addressing bad behavior can help, but not without connection. Connection is number one. If you're not connected and bonding and playing with your kids, the discipline isn't going to work. And praise is overrated. Play is underrated. Play is their love language. That's how you connect. And you connect with kids in their world. But yeah, I will get people who argue that with me, who have degrees out the wazoo about kids. Praise gets good behavior. I totally disagree. And that's okay. We don't have to agree on everything. Nearly 4-year-old doesn't want to sleep in his own bed. But then you said, I'm not against sharing a bed. Just a sec. So co-sleeping. but would be nice if it wasn't all the time. Okay, well, it's got to be consistent. So if you say sometimes you can sleep in bed, he's going to decide when that is. Do you really want that? Because what you're doing is you're giving him the choice. Because if sometimes he's allowed to sleep in bed, by the way, once you're a leader, you can do exceptions for sure, but not while you're trying to get leadership cemented. You've got to be 100% consistent. But yeah. Oh, hi, Tabitha. You going to call me on something again? She called me out on I'm always in trouble with my daughter. Not so much. I've been better lately because my daughter does all the planning in the business. So she gives me stuff to do and I don't always do it. I am not we're very different personalities, my daughter and I. She's very, I'm more heart driven. She's more head driven. Not that she doesn't have a heart, not that I don't have a head, but you know what I mean. I lead with my heart. She leads with her head. So she's the one who keeps me in line basically, and works out really well. Cape Town, South Africa. Welcome. I do scroll ahead just to make sure you're still here. And I also don't like to repeat a lot of the same types of questions. So I will be selective, especially with ages. Oh, here we go. How to connect with very smart 11-year-old to stop constant lying. Just put on the board, no lying. And then remember, you're on that behavior board too. Check it out. It's in the link above. It's completely free. You're on there too. That's where the connection is. The connection is with your consequence. So you'll see, it'll make sense when you see the board. So yeah, just put no lying as his rule. From Jersey, Channel Islands. Oh, I've never been that way. I think I'm going to get over that way maybe in the next couple of years. I don't know. I don't really think I like traveling all that much, or else I'd be doing it. It's just a lot of work. So, and I kind of like my routine here. Anyway, yeah, all that channel area. I'd like to get over there. I'd like to go to Ireland, Scotland. I'd like to do all that one day. It just seems like a lot of work traveling. He used to sleep in his own bed until I went away for 3 nights. Well, you can get him back in his own bed. Missouri. Hello, Brianna. What are some, I recognize that name. What are some things to put on the behavior board for parents? What if your partner is not on board with that aspect? Then leave them off. If they don't want to be on it, don't put them on it. Generally what happens is the leader, the one that's on the board, usually ends up getting a stronger connection with the kids. So then the other parent wants that. So they usually get on the board. So what are some things to put for parents? It's usually stuff like no yelling if you yell. It could be no showing anger, like getting angry. It can be you have to play with them for 10 minutes every day. In their world, they're in charge of the play, something like that. So it's something for the kids, something that they would like you to start doing or stop doing. And you can ask them. How to help 15-year-old find motivation to do better in school. God, I wish I had $1 for every time I get asked this. CD student, because he doesn't try, claims he could be an A student if he tried. He claims he could be an A student? Who's claiming that? 15-year-old finds motivation. I don't know if I can help you with that. What I mean, even in coaching, I teach relationships. I don't teach good grades and all that stuff. But generally, the stronger your relationship is with your teenager, the more likely they are to want to do better. It's just the way it is, because they want to make you proud because they look up to you. But you're passing the leadership torch over to them when they're teenagers. So they don't want to please you as much. That would be ridiculous. You don't want a teenager living to please you, more like younger kids are. Well, they don't live to please you, but you get the idea. But with teenagers, you want them to be more their own leaders, and you're there for backup. But you can still work on this relationship like a leader. And it's all about them. It's all in their world. That's how you connect with them. Stop nagging if you do. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. In the last year, I've added 2 tips to it. The last one's really important, which funny, I didn't think of that before. But anyway, these are my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or else they'll shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2, with teenagers, negotiate as much as possible. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper. What do you want from me? This is about reciprocity. You give respect before you get it. Number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? Or do you want to hear what I did this morning? In other words, it's okay to make mistakes and be human. Number 4 is don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. This comes up in coaching quite often, in that the parents will, I'll teach them how to connect with their teenager, and then they'll be out having fun with them, like they're just going out for coffee or hot chocolate or whatever. And then they'll want to discuss the bad times. Oh, I'm loving this time with you because the last 2 years have really been hell. Well, you wouldn't believe how many parents do that. I warn them against it, but every so often someone slips through and does that. Then they can't figure out why they got the finger in their teenager left. But then I have to teach them how to apologize for that and make amends. The last one I just added, I think a week ago, and it's you can be a right fighter with teenagers or you can be happy. I don't think I need to say any more than that. Yeah, a lot of people are right fighters. I used to be when I was younger, but I'm not anymore. I'm 64. I'm not a right fighter anymore. Oh, sorry. I'm just scrolling ahead to make sure you're still here. The only reason I'm on right now is because my back went out and I'm sitting here with a heating pad. It serves me right. I did too much yesterday. Stupid me. I got a bad back. So anyway. So if I look like I'm wincing, I'm just in pain. Very new, trying to be a leader. If I can only afford one course right now, which course should I start? I have a 3-month old and 3. Oh, do the older course. Yeah, start with the older one. This is, oh my gosh, I can't say your name. Hi from the Netherlands. I just want to say thank you for your advice. I was so insecure about parenting my kids, but your advice helps a lot. Parenting, well, thanks for your support, and I'm glad it's helping. Parenting is, I don't know why we talk about it like we should be perfect at it. I never aimed to be perfect. That's why I was so accountable. If I messed up, boy, my kids loved it. I made amends. So it's not, you're setting a good example. In other words, it's okay to be human. The thing is that a lot of parents, this pleaser parent style, there's a lot of aiming for perfection with that pleaser parent style. The thing is that it doesn't work, the pleaser parent. And also then those end up being yellers. The pleaser parent ends up yelling, then they end up hiring me because they're yelling. So yeah, it just doesn't work. Yeah, parenting isn't about perfection. It's about a leader is showing it's okay to be imperfect, but you got to make amends. Okay. Okay, let me see here. I feel like I had a funny story to tell you, but I can't remember. I only tell stories if I get permission, like from clients. Oh, what was it? I think I got permission, but darn if I can remember what it was. Funny thing is I wrote it down, then I shredded that piece of paper by accident. It was something really funny, but it was a really good point. And by the way, if you're going to hire me for coaching, come with your sense of humor. Some of this stuff's messy. You're going to make mistakes. We've got to laugh at some of this stuff just to release some of the tension. Not from me, but from you. A lot of parents, again, they're guilt-ridden. They feel like they have to do everything perfectly. That's not what I'm about at all. We're going to laugh off our mistakes. We all make them. Okay, Auckland. We used to ski in Queenstown when we lived in Australia. Your son is 4. He's struggling with fully potty training number 2s. Okay. So a lot of kids, especially boys, don't like to poop in the toilets. And there's 3 reasons for this. Girls too, but it's more likely to be boys, way more so. Is because I think they have more equipment hanging out down there, and that's why. They don't like the splashback. They might have been splashed when their poop hit the water, so then they got splashback, and there's more equipment hanging out down there, and they didn't like that. That could be a reason. The other reason could be hanging phobia. They don't like the feeling of it hanging in midair and tugging on their bum. They don't like that feeling. And the third one could be cold. They sit there for longer and they just don't like the feeling of getting cold sitting on the toilet. That's the least likely reason for this. Anyway, so what I recommend, it might work, it might not, like a lot of stuff. I got a million ideas, but this might work. It's the most common one that does work. You get a little porta potty and you put some toilet paper in the bottom. So when they sit on it, and tell them there's no splashback because there's no water. Also, their bum can feel they can actually touch the bottom with their bum if they want, because they're used to it doing in their pants, right? And then hike up the heat in the bathroom, or just put them on the porta potty and then put a big blanket around them and let them watch their favorite show or something on YouTube or wherever. And while they're doing their business, you can give that a go. How to stop a 23-month-old from hitting the 11-month-old? Just every time they do. I got a course, or it's actually my toddler course, sorry, in a boot camp course. So you just say no, and then you remove the 23-month-old from the 11-month-old or pick up the 11-month-old. So you're just sending the message and try and prevent future hits and interrupt it and say no and then take the same action. Toddlers are about consistent corrective actions. They're not about words, they're about actions. I know there's all these mini trendy mini therapy sessions out there discussing all their big feelings and big emotions with toddlers. It's absolute garbage. It's crap. That's not for the toddler. That's for the mother. Whenever I see that out in public, I'm like, oh God, it's painful to watch because it's just feeding the moms. Look at me. I'm doing a mini therapy session with my toddler. Yeah. And I know it's well meant, but it's useless. So yeah, they're about actions. They're not about words. They may be parroting what you say. Yes, mommy, I know it hurts your feeling, hurt my feelings. And they go right back and do it again. You can't figure out why. It's because you had a mini therapy session. You didn't use consistent corrective actions. It's frustrating for me because I know how useless that is, but it's really common right now because it's feeding the mom's needs, has nothing to do with the child. You know, this stuff, get on their level and say, use your words. How patronizing is that? Use your words. They are. Whatever they do is their words. That is their language. Being physical, smearing poop on the wall, whatever it is, that is their words. That's a toddler for you. They're going to do stuff. So when you say use your words to a toddler, you're very patronizing and condescending. Use your words. They already are. You use their words. Their words are actions. It's not all about you. It's all about them. Don't do what you do or what you react to. Think about it. A toddler is about actions, not words. It just makes perfect sense. But I know it's trendy right now to do the mini therapy sessions with toddlers. It's frustrating. It's good for my business, though, because I get those parents later on when they realize that stuff didn't work. I would rather you not hire me and not have to buy my courses, to be honest. Obviously, I'm not very good at marketing, but you get the idea. I'd rather you not go through that. You're setting a very bad base. Sometimes I'll get a client and they say, I explained, he's old enough to understand. I told him it hurts my feelings when he hits. Instantly, I'm like this. It hurts my feelings when he hits. And he does it again. Can you believe that? And I'm like, what's your point? Why would a 2-year-old care if he's hurting your feelings? He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. You're asking for empathy from a 2-year-old. The only reason that they look like they might be empathetic and sympathetic if you're hurt is it scares them. It's all about them, right? That scares them. Hair everywhere. I was swallowing a hair. Does that make sense? Why those mini therapy sessions are so useless? They're just okay. Okay, New Jersey. We have a 5-year-old, mother's consequences, no TV or snacks for a whole weekend. No, you've gone too far. It looks like you don't know what you're doing. You're too out of control. My opinion, that's way too long. Yep. He gets mad and hits himself. Yeah. Okay. It's out of control. Totally out of control. It makes you look weak. Makes you look like that's it. No TV for a year. It's not leadership. That's like you let too much go and then you come in too hard and too fast. That's, you got to be consistent and be fair and reasonable. Check out my course. Actually, it might be good for you. I have 2 boot camp courses, one for toddlers and one for 3 to 12-year-olds. But yeah, that's not good. And whatever parents do, they do with the best intentions. No one's handed a baby in the hospital and says, I'm going to mess you up. Everyone's doing the best they know how. I'm just teaching you there might be a better way, right? I've worked with hundreds of kids. I'm old. I'm a grandmother now. I've kind of seen it all. So I'm just telling you through experience what kids need, not what feels good for you to do or to say necessarily, but what they need to hear and what they need you to do. That's what I do. I base all of my information is based on kids' needs. All of it. All of it. It's all based on the children's needs, not yours. And the thing is, once you get that right and you meet their needs and manage their wants, then you'll be happy anyway, right? You got happy kids. How to deal with other kids being rude to younger kids at the park when their parents are, just get up and leave. I don't teach what to do with other people's kids. I would get up and leave. I don't discipline other people's kids unless I'm in charge of them. But yeah. Oh, I don't answer all questions, by the way. I like to mix them up, ages, How did you get this good? I'm old. I'm 64 years old. I've been working with kids for decades. I started volunteering at daycare centers when I was 11. I just always kind of was good at figuring kids out. That was sort of, I was obviously just meant to do this. But yeah, just decades of working with kids. You get decent at something when you've got that much experience, right? And it is experience based. I mothered them all too. So that's why I teach parenting and not anything else. I've never been a teacher or anything. Okay. But sometimes people come to me and they want to be a parenting coach. So they'll ask my advice, how do you get into this? And if you haven't got all those, decades, sorry, if you haven't got all those decades of experience with kids and teenagers, I don't think you can teach the big picture stuff, because if you haven't lived with teenagers and worked with them and finished the job with your own kids and worked with hundreds of other kids, I don't think you can teach the big picture stuff. I just don't know how you could. But you can still teach niche stuff like potty training or sleep training or stuff like that. You can still teach that stuff, but I wouldn't, and then stay away from the big picture stuff. If you don't have all that experience, and if you haven't finished the job with your own kids and lived with teenagers, I don't think you should be teaching the big picture, because it is heavily experience-based. It just is, but yeah, but lots of people sort of want to do this. But yeah, I never expected to do this. I was doing this just all free volunteer work. It was obviously a huge passion of mine, was working with kids. And I was always working with the challenging kids. I was good at getting good behavior out of kids. I was good at connecting with kids and teenagers. And then they told me to start this. The teenagers said, you got to teach this, Lisa. No one's ever talked to us like you do. So they told me to do it. I think that other people often guide you into what your calling is. I certainly didn't know it. I had no idea. No idea. But I also want to point out, someone said to me the other day, they said, oh, how come you're so smart? No. Yeah, I just want to point this out. You don't need to be brain surgeon to figure out how to do, like, anyone can do this is what I'm saying. It's not that I'm smart, not that you think I am, but someone did ask me this. So that's why you're probably thinking, I never thought you were smart. That's okay. But it's doable. Anyone can learn this. Anyone can learn how to be a leader for their kids. It takes work though. You got to earn that. I worked my butt off to get that with my kids and with other kids, all the kids I worked with. I earned that leadership role. I put in the work. And, but yeah, anyone can learn how to do this. And am I a leader in my personal life? Absolutely not. I'm a follower. So I get this question all the time. I'm not a leader type personality. Neither am I. I'm a follower. I seemed like a leader when I was younger a bit more, but no, not at all. I'm very much a follower. And I always kind of was like a lot of my friends have very strong personalities, but I don't like bossy people. I like leaders. Leaders do what's best for everybody. Bossy people do what's best for them. There's a huge difference between the two. So I'm very attracted to leaders in my personal life because I'm not. I'm very much a follower. But with kids, I'm a leader all the way. All the way, because that's the mothering, maternal part. So yeah, you don't have to be a leader in your personal life to be good at leading children, because I'm certainly not. I'm very much a follower, very much. I don't want to know where I'm going, what time to be there, what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to wear. Just tell me or I'll turn up. So yeah, I'm not at all. But I'm very careful because I don't I only follow people I like and respect, obviously. But I've had friends who were also followers, and we often laughed at this. We'll end up on a corner somewhere. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? We'll just stand there in the rain. Like these are two followers who go out together. They don't know what to do. It's quite funny. I have herniated discs and Voltaren. Is that a drug? I don't take any drugs. Yeah, I do have another heating massage pad, like wrap, coming in tonight. Hopefully that'll help. But yeah, I broke my back when I was a kid. It'll never be great. Yeah, it was 50 plus years ago. I've had surgery, but it's okay. I can usually manage it. How to handle almost 5-year-old boys saying shut up. That's kind of name calling or rude words. So you can put that on the board. I don't put attitude on there, but shut up and name calling in that. I would say no bad words, no name calling. And shut up, I consider a bad word. And just treat it like a business transaction. Don't say you shouldn't say that. It's useless. It makes you look weak. Makes you look, you're not a leader if you talk like that. You shouldn't say that. I don't talk like that at all. Yeah. Oh, it's a cream. It's still probably a drug, right? Yeah, I don't put anything medicated. I'm weird that way. But thanks. I do. Oh, sometimes I've used, I had really bad leg pain and I was using, I don't even want to say what it is, but it's a rub, like a heat sort of rub. It was a prescription. So sometimes I'll do that, but this isn't bad enough. I can still get up and walk. Okay. But thanks. I do appreciate that. I know exactly what I did how I worked my back yesterday. I know exactly. I knew what I was doing it too. I thought I can do this. Anyway, I'm going to move over to Instagram now if you want to follow me over there. Otherwise, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board. I have 2 boot camp courses. We've got 1 more group coaching session coming this Saturday. They will all end up in the boot camp courses if you're involved in that. It's completely free. It's just an add-on. We just do it. We've done it once before with the 3 to 12-year-old course. And now we're doing it with the toddler, which is new, the toddler and the 3 to 12-year-old course. We get your feedback on the course and your questions. Doesn't matter where you are in the course. And all those group coaching sessions are done on Zoom and they end up on the course. So if you're interested in that. Anyway, or else you can look into coaching. And anyway, thanks so much. I'm heading over to Instagram and I'm on YouTube the whole time. Happy parenting. Oops. Okay. Oh, jeez. Sorry. Trying to get comfortable. Okay, let me see. Well, Tabitha, what do you do when toddler's idea of fun is getting physical and I can't always do that? She really likes to do it before bed. I try to play with her in other ways, but she gets bored when reading or playing games. I did a lot of balloon tennis with my kids even when they were little, just trying to keep the balloon up in the air, stuff like that. Doesn't take a lot from you. That was just one idea I had. I did that a lot because I had a bad back, so I did that. Okay, so welcome to my live. I'm on Instagram. It just came from Facebook, and now I'm on Instagram. I will be going to TikTok after a little bit here, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. Sorry, my back's out. If I look a little bit wincy, that's why I'm on here, because I can't go out and do what I normally do. So I'm doing a live, which always kind of cheers me up. So anyway, check out the link. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach, a mother, and a grandmother. Oh, and my granddaughter, just took her first steps, and she's just 10 months old. It's cute how she did it too. She corrects herself like her shoulders were hunching over, trying to get her balance. So freaking cute. Anyway, so yeah, typical grandmother. Oh, she's adorable. Anyway, so that was fun today. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board. You can see my 2 boot camp courses, and we've got 1 more live group coaching session this Saturday. If you're in the boot camp courses, you can just turn up and ask questions. You'll see all these other parents asking questions too. So what else? Oh yeah, or you can look into coaching. That's one-on-one with me if you want to do that. I'm usually pretty busy like coaching. There is a bit of a wait list. So yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. I might get to that today. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so let's go on. I answer questions, but I also just talk a lot about what I think you need to hear, because questions are parent-led, and you're asking questions coming from a place where you want to learn from me. Whereas in coaching, I don't do that very often. Coaching is more about me instructing you on how to be a leader, not discussing where you're coming from a non-leadership place. Do you understand what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm very bossy in coaching. But yeah, I got to keep things on track. But my favorite thing in my business by far is coaching. I love it. I'm pretty tough. It was funny. I was talking to one parent. I always think I'm really nasty and tough in coaching because I just tell you what you need to hear and all that. So I said to this one parent, I've got this tough image in my head. And I said to this one parent, I said, I know I can be really nasty sometimes. And she goes, No, you're not. Like as if I, yes, I am. She kind of cut right through my tough image. I thought that was hilarious. So we had a good laugh over that. No, you're not. I think I called myself mean. I know I can be really mean. It struck me as funny. I like to be tough. Okay. Any recommendations for leading a 19-month-old? No, just follow through with consistent corrective actions and play with them. You play in their world. I'm going to read out my top 5. Have I got 5 tips? Yeah. My top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1 is child-proof your home so you never have to say no. It's also setting them up for success, okay? Because they're not getting into stuff if they can't. So you're not always saying no, right? And number 2 is set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. There's lots of videos on that. Number 3, when you want to connect with a toddler, you do so in their world. It's actually the same with all ages. Like you don't go to the nail salon with a toddler, you go to the park and roll down the hill with them. Do you know how many times I came home after the park and picked leaves out of my hair? Like you got to get in their world. That's how you connect with a toddler. It's all physical. And number 4 is when you want to discipline toddlers, it's similar. You do so in their world. They're not about words, they're about actions. It doesn't mean that you can't use words, but they're not their world. That's not their love language is fun and playing and physical. Okay. Or it could be singing, but it's not discussing things. That's not their world. And number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed in there. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years. In the first year, you were a potato laying on a mattress. Like they're just forming. They're brand new. They might even go like this and smear poop on the wall. So yeah, try and figure that one out. Okay. Another thing I want to point out is this comes up with a lot of ages, not just toddlers. This comes up with a lot of ages. Is parents will, I say to them, why do you go on with all that lecturing? Like they'll tell me, well, we told them that it hurts people's feelings when they do this and they do that. And then they still go out and do it. We can't figure it out. Bad behavior is not done because of a lack of understanding. It's a lack of consequences / accountability. It's not that they don't understand they shouldn't do it. It's they don't give a hoot if there's no consequence. Does that make sense? Bad behavior is not as a result of a lack of understanding. When they're really little, like tiny, yeah, there's a bit of that. But after the first time, they get it. Doesn't mean they're going to stop doing it. Toddlers are a slower burn, but when they get older, put it on the behavior board. It's not a lack of understanding. They understand right from wrong from the age of about 2.5, I would say. They really pick up on right from wrong. Understanding it's wrong does not stop them from doing it. That's why there's all these mini therapy sessions. You got to explain it so they understand it. It's ridiculous. Tiny. Tiny would be 16 months, around there. I would probably have a different answer every day. I would say 16 months and under, they're learning, right? Or maybe 15 months and under. A toddler to me is 16 to 35 months. That's when you're starting to correct bad behavior. Under that, you're starting to teach them what's bad behavior. So, but you're still sort of correcting, but not much, you know. So yeah, it's just, I made that up. To me, a baby is 0 to 15 months. A toddler is 16 to 35 months. 3 and a 4-year-old is a preschooler. 5 to 8 is a school age. 9 to 12 is a tween or preteen. 13 up, obviously, teenager. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I've grouped it. I find it's the most efficient for the way I work is grouping it that way. Okay. Another thing too is parents often try and guilt their kids into being good. Well, you know, you shouldn't do that. You want to be a good boy, right? I think that's mean. It's when you say good boy, it implies they're a bad boy. I separate the child from the behavior. Yeah, that was bad, but here's your consequence. Now let's go play. I address bad behavior. I don't make it part of their identity. I address it and I go, oh, well, that was not good. Here's your consequence. So, but then I connect with the good kid. I don't talk good boy or bad boy or anything like that. If you call them a good boy, you're implying that they're a bad boy when they do the other. So yeah, just play with them. That is their love language. That's what makes them feel good. Compliments, praise. It's not for them. It's for you. Doesn't do it for them. It's okay, but that's not what gets results. You look at a 5-year-old little boy and you say to that little boy, you're wonderful, you're special, you can do whatever you want. We love you, blah, 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 blah. And then you say, okay, I'm going to go wash the dishes. Look at his face. You say to that same 5-year-old boy, hey, what are you doing? Can I play too? Look at his face. Which just made him feel better. Which made him feel better? Was it all the praise? All the compliments? Did that make him feel good? It's okay. I'm not saying don't do it, but don't do it instead of the other. Do you understand the difference there? Play and fun is their love language. That's connection. It's not being told they're great. It's being played with and enjoyed. Someone might ask a lot of parents ask a follow-up question to that. We'll see if, oh, here we go. There it is. Oh, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. There's usually a follow-up question to that little speech I just did. Okay, so example of consequences for toddlers, consistent corrective actions. That's all you use with under the age of 3. And you remove them from the fun or remove fun from them. What if they've got no fun? They just come in the kitchen while you're doing the dishes and bite your leg. You say no, and then you pick them up fast and go and take a toy and put it away. So you're still removing fun, but it's not, they might not be playing with it right away. So, and then prevent future or subsequent bites. If you know they're in a biting mood, prevent because they get used to doing it. So the subsequent ones, you just go no and physically restrain them to keep them away from you. Oh God, you're going to hate me. Studio Bird, YNZ, or was it Birdie, New Zealand? I don't know. Toddler, that sounds familiar. Toddler, 21 months, wants hug while having a tantrum. Do I ignore that too or give her a hug? That is not a love hug. That is validate this tantrum. That has nothing to do with love. Okay, they're feeling kind of lost in this. Okay. A tantrum is a loss of emotional control at not getting their own way. You do not validate any feelings around that. You ignore it. That is not a love hug. You can hug them any other time, but not during or right after a tantrum. If they want to hug after a tantrum, they've got the hiccup cries, hug, you just go, you're okay. And then you say, well, let's go read a book. You make light of it. Okay, because if you hug right after a tantrum, it looks like you pity them. So you're giving that tantrum a lot of power. So yeah, boy, people, don't argue with me anymore. They used to argue with me all the time. I miss them. I miss those days. You've got to validate all their feelings. What the hell do you know? I used to get that all the time. Oh, I love that. I know I'm right with this. So yeah, you never validate their loss of emotional control at not getting what they want, when they want, and how they want it. If you validate that, they'll keep doing it. Why wouldn't they? Okay. So, oh shoot, did I freeze here? Okay. New Zealand. Okay, right. That's where we used to go skiing with our kids. This is kind of off topic, but I'll tell you this funny story. My kids, especially my son, was very cautious. He wasn't like a real physical kid that just was falling and breaking legs and all that all the time. He just was very cautious. So anyway, we went skiing and he would have been 10. We went to Queenstown in New Zealand. We used to live in Australia. So my kids are born and raised. So anyway, we went skiing in Queenstown, and this just shocked me. And we put them in lessons, and so we went off and skied while they were in lessons. Then we sort of went with them, right? So anyway, I was such a safety nut, and I explained this. I said, you stay with the instructor, and don't do anything out of there. But then when the instructor was finished with my son, like he didn't have to be picked up; he could just ski down on his own. Anyway, this was horrific. There was this run, and in New Zealand, you're not going to get any big runs. I used to ski Whistler all the time. You get bigger runs there, but these are pretty safe runs. But still, there's some spots. Anyway, so I was just waiting for, I think, my son. I knew he was, but he was coming down this other way. I was waiting for him. So out of the corner of my eye, I saw this kid flying down, skis together. He's just learning how to ski, parallel skis. He goes straight down. Now the run turns like that. And this kid decided to overshoot, and he went down this steep, it wasn't even a run. It was just sort of an edge. And he went down, flying down, ended up on the bottom. And I said, if that was my kid, I would kill him, because you could see he didn't really know what he was doing. Lucked out, didn't kill himself. That was my son. I had to do a double take. I thought, what? I just freaked out. I always say I don't yell, but I freaked out. I yelled his name and I said, you never do that again. I couldn't believe he did that. But he didn't know. It wasn't bad behavior. He just didn't know. He thought you ski going straight down. Well, that's how I broke my back when I was 13. That's why I'm still suffering at 64 years old. That's how I broke my back. I went down, exact same thing, went off a run and went over and of course landed in a tree and broke my back. Anyway, I thought that was hilarious. I couldn't believe it was him. And that wasn't bad behavior, but I never yelled, but I did scream out his name. And I always say when it comes to safety, that's okay. So I wasn't a yeller. Okay. It's funny. Boy, he's got you figured out. It's Rebecca. Just found your account and love your advice. Thank you. Have a 4.5-year-old that pouts in the morning, says she can't get dressed by herself, that it's too hard, then flops around advice. Put it on the behavior board. Just say, get ready within 10 minutes of being asked to do so. And if she doesn't, there's a consequence. So yeah, just put it on the behavior board. No anger. Just say, well, this is the rule, is you get ready within 10 minutes of being asked to do so. And we all learn through consequences. That's why we pay our taxes. If we don't, we go to jail. That's why we pay our mortgage. We'll lose our home. We all run by consequences, right? We don't do the right thing by being lectured at and nagged, right? Or yelled at. No, we do it because there's a consequence if we don't do the right thing. I know my daughter, we do a podcast together because she's my business partner. And we're talking about this. And I said, I never told my kids what to do. And she said, that's because we knew what to do. And we knew if we didn't, then you'd have a consequence. So, and then she goes, but she said, we also felt like we had a lot of power and a lot of control because you listened, and I did. If they didn't like something, they'd tell me, but they never came at me in a disrespectful way. They'd say, Mom, I don't know if you're being fair with this. And I'd say, well, why? And they'd say, because this. I'd say, you're right. You're right. Okay, let's change that. So they also had a voice. But yeah, be careful with this behavior board. Be very businesslike when you're doing it. The attitude should be is that everyone makes mistakes. We're all learning here. And you're on there too, by the way. If you're not on there, you're not a leader. You're a dictator. I don't teach that. You got to be accountable. I was the one who was always in trouble with my kids. I was always, promise I'll do that. I will. And I knew I would forget. And then they'd come at me. You said you were going to do that. I don't see no muffins. So, you promised you were going to make them last night. I go, drats, what do you want? We'd love to go to the water slide park after school. Stuff like that. Yeah, they had a say, believe me. So I lost my train of thought. Never mind. Might come back to me. Might not. Sorry, I'm in a lot of pain. I got a back. My back went out. My own fault. I did something yesterday. I knew I shouldn't have. I'm very into fitness and I'm very competitive. Enough said. Yeah, I'm 64, and I would say the girl I was trying to outdo was probably 24. And I have a broken back. I broke my back years ago too. So yeah, you can figure out what I did. Yeah. Did I keep up and outdo her? Yeah, I think so. Am I paying for it? What kind of shape is she in today? She's probably fine. That's how stupid. I'm not competitive with anything else but fitness, just fitness. I'm not competitive with sports. Like if you put me in a game, I could care less. I'm very competitive with fitness. And I don't know why, because it's not my nature. I'm not competitive with other stuff. Anyway, it serves me right. I don't even want to admit that to my daughter. Oh, she'll listen to this. Drats. She takes all my videos from these lives. Yeah, she'll hear this. I didn't want to admit that. Anyway. Do you work with teenagers? Yeah, that's my specialty. But no one on here asks about teenagers. Do you use the behavior board for teenagers? Yeah, because you're on there too. And I call it an accountability chart with teenagers. You're on there too. And you get more. I don't have a teenage course, but when I'm working with parents of teenagers, we start real small because this is how it goes. I sell sessions 5 at a time, right? The first session or 2, when I'm dealing with parents of teenagers that are out of control, the first session or 2, we don't even address any of that bad behavior. The parents and I always warn them ahead of time, I'm not going to address that. All I'm working on is your connection. That's it. So, I need a lot of information that the teenager, what do they tell you they don't like, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, they are my favorite age by far. But it's only in coaching do I do I really? I don't have it courses or anything. But on here, I will read out my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. It's just most people who turn up to my lives have toddlers, but most people who hire me have older kids. I get toddler stuff too, but most of them are teenagers and older kids. Okay, now, because if someone wants to invest in coaching, it's usually because they've gone through a few years of difficult stuff, right? By that time, they're ready. Oh, okay, I'll get coaching. Okay, these are my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1, you listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2 is you negotiate as much as possible. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper. What do you want from me? Reciprocity, give to get, respect, right? Number 3, with teenagers, don't sweat the small stuff. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did at your age? And laugh it off. Or do you want to hear what I did yesterday? And laugh it off. We all make mistakes. That's okay. Number 4, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. I'll teach parents how to connect with their teenagers. And then I always say, do not discuss how they've disappointed you or the stuff that they did wrong in the past. And sure enough, every so often a parent slips through and does that. And it'll go something like this. Hey, it's great that we're going out for a movie. I'd love spending time with you. It's great because the last 2 years with you have been hell. And they can't figure out why they get the finger and the teenager walks out of the movie. They can't put that together. So I warn them, and then they have to make it up, make amends and everything. And number 5 is with teenagers, you can either be a right fighter or you can be happy. You usually are right when you're discussing something with your teenager. You want them to do something that they should be doing and they're arguing that they don't need to and they don't want to and you're being not fair. Do not be a right fighter with that. Now, I never argue, right? There's no point. But don't be a right fighter. You can either be a right fighter or you can be happy with teenagers. Your payback, when do I get the payback? Your payback for that is the fairness in all this is when they're grown and they've got their own teenagers and they complain to you about their teenagers and you just get to sit back and watch the show. I know it's a slow burn. It's a long wait. But that is when you get the payback. Not before. Good luck with that. Okay. If you go on the behavior board, it actually has a blurb on toddlers too. So can you do the give and get if they have a ODD? Oppositional defiant disorder is an acronym or it's something that doctors have told me they made up just to make moms feel better. It's not a medical diagnosis. The problem that I have with that is what you're doing is you're allowing that parent to not take responsibility for their child's behavior. All of their behavior between the ages of 3 and 12 years old is a direct result of your parenting. All the kids I worked with had ADHD, WXYZ, they had all that. I still managed to get respect and good behavior because I'm a leader. I know how to do it. That's what I teach. So yeah, don't use ODD as an excuse. All this stuff works on, they're just opposite. They're just more feisty kids. But yeah, doctors have told me that ODD is just something they made up to make moms feel better. It also absolves the parent of any responsibility to fix that, so I don't agree with that. It's also name calling too, really. Like you'd rather than take, now I'm not accusing you of this necessarily, but it certainly comes out all the time. Well, there's not much I can do because he's got ODD. And it frustrates the heck out of me because those are all the kids I worked with and I still managed to get respect. So what frustrates me about that is you'd rather blame your child than yourself. I find that frustrating as anything. You'd rather blame your child for their bad behavior rather than take responsibility rather than yourself. I used to work with kids all the time. And if they did something wrong or teenagers and they did something wrong under my umbrella when I was with them, and I was like a mother, like a mentor kind of role, then if they did something wrong, I would always think this way. What am I missing here? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? They weren't even my kids. I never used their diagnoses or their past or their whatever as an excuse for me not to get respect. So parents, please say, what can I do to get respect? What can I do to be a leader? It's all the same answer for all these kids. Set yourself up as a leader, follow through. What are my top, I'm going to read out, I wrote something on it. Top 3 leadership qualities. This is the leader. You stay calm during the storms. So when they're angry or whatever, misbehaving, stay calm. It's a business transaction. All discipline is a business transaction. No emotions. Number 2, be crazy during the rainbows. Discipline is a tiny part of all this. It's more about connecting and relationship building with kids and teenagers. It's the relationship, the connection, the bond. So you're crazy during the rainbows. That's the happy times. It's in their world. You're connecting in their world, not in yours. You connect in their world and you be happy and fun and goofy and crazy. That's their love language, is fun and humor. That's all I had when I was working with kids. I didn't have any way of disciplining them or anything, but I'd take away Fun Lisa for a minute. And they like that. They like Fun Lisa, so they didn't want to, and they didn't want to disappoint me either. But I didn't show disappointment. I'd just say, that wasn't very good, so I'm just going to go quiet for 30 seconds or whatever. Sorry, Lisa. It's okay. 10 more seconds. That's all I would do. And when you're a leader, they want to please you instinctively, okay? Number 3 is become a great listener. This is like 3 and above. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. Just listen and then don't talk. Hard to do. If they want you to talk, they'll ask. But if they're unloading on you with something, you just listen. Yeah, that would be frustrating. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do? I always encourage my kids to become their own problem solvers. I was there if they wanted to keep talking about it. Believe me, we did. I'd say, what do you want to do? What are you going to do with that? What should we do here? So I'm just got my heating pad. I actually bought a new one that isn't wired and it's got a massage feature on it for my back. Hopefully that'll help. Yeah, if I look like I'm in pain, I'm in pain. So, okay, actually I got to get going. I've got stuff to do, and just a sec here. I'm going to go over to TikTok, so I spend some time over there before I've got to get some work done. Check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board, my boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. I have one more group coaching session. It's just a free thing that I had going for 6 weeks. I've got my last one happening this Saturday if you're in the boot camp courses, or you can look into coaching. I don't have any courses or anything for teenagers, but you can still use the free behavior board with teenagers. Just call it an accountability chart. And anyway, so that's it. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm on YouTube the whole time, and now I'm hopping over to TikTok for a few minutes. Happy parenting. I have the most buttons to push when I go from Instagram to TikTok. Okay. Okay, this, I don't like that you did this, but sometimes we have to. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna save this and I'll read it out in a minute. It's from Samaya, and I'll read it out. Sometimes you got to do that, but I'll explain it. Okay. I'm just waiting for people to turn up. People turn up slowly on TikTok for some reason. Instagram, everyone turns up in one bunch. What's up? Not much. Just waiting. Just waiting. I'm on YouTube too, so. Okay. I'm just waiting for everyone to turn up. I like your blue eyes. My eyes are very light green. No blue in them at all. I remember once I was about 8 years old, and I was walking home from school with an older neighbor, and we'd never walked before together. And she looked at my eyes and she goes, "Oh my God, your eyes are so light." They were light. She goes, "They're like," I don't know how she explained it. "They're like really light green." And I remember it scared me because she looked like she was freaked out by it. And I remember that scared me. Isn't that funny? Oh my God, your eyes are they're green. They're so light. And I remember thinking, "Oh, am I?" And then I think she said something about being albino or something, like, "Is my eyes are so light?" I'm not albino. And I thought, not that that's a bad thing, but anyway, I remember that scared me. Isn't that funny what kids, I didn't know my eye color was anything. Okay, I'm going to answer this. Oh, first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you're new, welcome. If not, welcome back. If you look in the link above, you'll see my free behavior board, which has a toddler blob on it. Blob, toddler blurb. And also you can look into my boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for older kids. And I also, there's something new on here. Every so often, TikTok throws in something different. Or you can look into coaching. There's a wait list for coaching, but anyway, we'll see how we go. And most of the questions here are about toddlers. For some reason, most parents who turn up in these lives have toddlers. My specialty is teenagers, and most of my coaching is older kids and teenagers. But on these lives, it's very toddler based. So I try and mix up the ages. That's why I'm always looking for a question about teenagers or older kids, just to mix it up so that it's not all about toddlers. And by the way, if you have toddlers, you're going to have older kids and teens one day. So any information I give you for older kids is going to be relevant for you. But it's harder if you've got teenagers. You don't want to hear about toddler stuff, right? Because you've already been there, done that. Okay, I was going to read this question, and I'm going to explain why I didn't really like what the parent did, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. This is Samaya. Hi, Lisa. So glad you're live. Question: 24-hour media doesn't matter at school. He's 6. He did 2 things. Okay. Only thing that he impacted him is missing a soccer practice. After the consequence, we played and connected. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Now, the parent said the only thing that impacted him was to miss soccer. I never like to take that kind of stuff away. Like I would never take a birthday party away or Christmas away or soccer practice or a game because they've committed to that. I want them turning up and understanding no matter what happens, you still turn up to your commitments. And also I don't take away social stuff. But if that's all that impacts him, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Like I don't like using food as a consequence, but sometimes kids, all they care about is dessert. If they have dessert at all, and that's every single night the kid looks forward to dessert. So that sometimes is the consequence that we have to use. I don't like doing it, but sometimes we do. That's why I don't put that stuff. I don't usually talk about that stuff here or even in my courses. But in coaching, I do, because I don't want you to start there. I want that to be your last resort. So I've got to answer this message. Okay. Just a sec. Just a second here. It's from my daughter. Print. Okay. She's the only reason I answer her calls is because she's my business partner. So it might have been something. Maybe on the live, something happened that I didn't miss, that I didn't see. She might have been what. She doesn't usually watch these lives because she has to look at them later. That's where she gets all these videos from. But yeah, it's really the only thing. So yeah, like I said, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. It's like inventing leverage. I hate inventing leverage. I don't even want to discuss it on here, but I've talked about it before. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So, but I don't like to advertise that stuff because people will often start there because it's the bigger stuff that we have to resort to. I don't want you starting there. Okay. Bringing home baby number 2 on Wednesday, and I'm in a panic. Toddler is 2. Any tips? Nope, 0, nothing. Just watch that baby like a hawk. Never trust a toddler with a baby. It's not that they're evil. It's just they don't understand concussions, soft spots. I had a friend years and years ago, well, obviously, because my son's 35 and our little boys were 2 years old. And they were both very gentle little boys, like would never hit. Even if they were hit, they would never retaliate. And that's why they played so well together. Anyway, we were shocked at this. She brought home her darling little newborn girl. He was wonderful with her initially. After a week, he took her out of the bassinet and threw her on the floor. He didn't understand. He just was sick of her. He was like, yeah, she's cute at first. Now she's taking mommy and daddy away. She's crying. She's annoying. She stinks. So he just decided he was done with her. To him, it was just like throwing a doll on the floor. So yeah, even if they're very sweet little toddlers, it's not their fault. They don't understand life and death, right? So the baby was fine, by the way, but sure, shook everyone up. No, would not have expected it from that kid. That's the thing. Never trust them. I would never expect it with that kid. By the time my daughter was born, like I would never expect it with my son either. By the time my daughter was born, my son he'd just turned 5. 2 weeks after he turned 5, she was born. And so, yeah, he would be holding her in the other room. I would have trusted him 100%. But he was 5, and I knew him very well by that age. He was very gentle. But at 2, I wouldn't have trusted him. It's not fair to him either, because then if they do something like that, then you freak out and you get mad and yell at them, and you know what I mean? It's not fair to them because they don't understand. You set them up to fail, basically. So yeah, just watch that newborn like a hawk. Someone said, I don't get a lot of haters anymore. And if anyone's been watching me for a few years now, you'll know I love the haters because then I can really drive my point home. I guess they've just all bailed on me, and that's okay. Why would they stick around? Anyway, I'll tell you what happened when I first started about almost 3 years ago. It was this February. I went on TikTok. My daughter told me for a whole year, Mom, you got to get on TikTok. It was meant for you. It's all short, casual, short form. I hate anything planned or anything. I don't operate being planned. I hate it. Anyway, so that's when we do our podcast. I never know what's coming. I like to be put on the spot. Anyway, so I went on TikTok and blew up overnight. Like, just had no idea that was going to happen. Of course, old lady talking about parenting. Who would think? Anyway, so it was wonderful. I blew up overnight. Changed my whole life, to be honest. So anyway, and now my daughter's working with me full time, and so it's changed both of our lives immeasurably. Anyway, what was funny was I couldn't figure out why would people turn up? Well, I found out that people, the big people, some of these big, I don't know anyone else out there who teaches parenting, but other people were telling me this, that they saw these other people talking about me and criticizing me. They'd even do duet videos. And then I did some research into that. And that's when in one day I got 30,000 followers, and it was from their duet video. They didn't realize they were the ones building my channel. Because they'd say this idiot was online because I was blowing up. They saw me as a threat, I guess. I don't know. There's room for all of us. Who cares? So anyway, and then this is typical bullying. I love justice. I love karma. So they were insulting me like bad, really nasty stuff. And then I'd get their followers. I blew up 30,000 followers in one day. Anyway, this kept happening over and over and over again. I didn't have the heart to tell them. And then finally I did. I was doing a live one day and I said, I know you're probably watching. I didn't know who it was, but I probably could have figured it out. I know you're watching, but are you aware that you're blowing up my channel by doing those duet videos? They never did another one after. I thought that was hilarious. I love stuff. I love stories like that because I'll never say who it was. I don't remember anyway. But I've never looked at another parenting person ever. Never read a book on parenting or kids. I just teach from my own experience. But talk about karma. Is that hilarious or what? I couldn't take it anymore. I felt bad for them. That's why I said that. And they never did it again. Okay, I got some kids on here. Someone said, why do my comments get deleted? I don't think they do. I don't know anything about that. I don't answer all comments. I just pick and choose what I want because I like to mix up the ages and I like to throw in a whole bunch of my own stuff too. Because if I'm just feeding off of toddler discipline, that's not what I'm all about at all. At all. Toddlers are just kind of crazy. It's just a stage you're going through and we address it through consistent corrective actions. But yeah, I specialize in teenagers. And I like to mix it all up. That's why. So I scan through a whole bunch of comments. And I can't answer them all anyway, because I get too many. You've helped me so much. Emma, just want to say thanks. You're very welcome. That's why I do this. I love my job. I would say once a week, I have a bit of a cry over how on earth do I get to do this for a living? Not a big cry, not a sobber, but just a bit, I get emotional. It's usually during coaching. It's usually when someone has some big breakthrough, especially the clients who've been struggling the most. If they have a big breakthrough, I lose it. Imagine being able to help people for a living. Oh, perfect. My 4-year-old daughter is a very strong-willed child, and your approach helped me. Excellent. You said help me. Yeah, it is all about you. Those are all the kids I worked with. No one ever said to me, here's an easy one, Lisa. They all went, good luck with this one. I was always handed the difficult kids or teenagers to work with. And they became, that's where I learned all this stuff, right? So yeah, it's never about them, ever. It's always about you. I teach leadership. I don't teach kidding. I teach parenting. I don't teach kidding or teenagering. They already know how to do that. I teach leadership. I teach you how to get respect. I teach you how to earn it. Don't just expect it. You got to work. I worked my butt off to get respect with kids. I earned it. I never expected to just get it handed to me, ever. And I never did. I always had to earn it. Like that 8-year-old boy who said to me, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said, bring it on. And he never did. He was great with me. He just picked up, oh, she knows what she's doing. I earned that. That was body language, tone of voice. Yeah, they pick up on that. It's never the kids. It's always you. Always. Which is the best news you can get. You can only change yourself anyway. You can't change anybody else, not even kids. Oh, sugar. I have to go. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm sorry it was so short here on TikTok. I've been on here for over an hour just doing it, jumping around from platform to platform. Anyway, I do have to get going now. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board. It also has a toddler section on it now. And you can look up my bootcamp course for toddlers, my bootcamp course for 3 to 12-year-olds, or you can look into coaching. Anyway, happy parenting. Have a wonderful day. Bye now.